All right, all right. All right, owners, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is the Need to Know Crosstalk show. I'm Zeke. I'm hosting here. I have two guys with me, two amazing individuals. Got Bobby Toombs, and we have Bryan Justice. How you doing, guys? You all good?
Doing good, man. Thank you for letting us be here, Zeke.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you, Zeke.
Just a little bit of a bio on Bobby. He's a longevity lifestyle specialist, superfood nutritionist, tonics, herbs, and life enhancement upgrade, should I say. And he owns his own company, which is Toombs Talk. Manages that company, and he's affiliated with a company called Purium, who's with health and nutrition as well. Bryan was a project manager in construction. He's now into PC tech. But behind the scenes of all of that, he's a nutritionist, he's a timing and fasting specialist, and he's a physical trainer. And I'm a huge follower of his stuff for both of you guys, and he's got a lot of wisdom to add to this show today. This topic today is on alternative medicine and becoming your own medical practitioner. My gosh, what a topic this is. I mean, I'm very much quite new to the whole scene of alternative medicine. You know, the last few years has been quite massive, overall, just 180 compared to the way I used to live. So, we're on all right with the volume. Just to add in.
Sounds good on my end.
Yeah. I just wanted to shout out a little bit. I just wanted to talk a little bit about alternative medicine here. It says online that alternative medicine is any of a range of medical therapies that are not regarded as orthodox by the medical profession, such as homeopathy and crystal healing. It also talks about complementary medicine, which is a range of medical therapies that fall beyond the scope of conventional medicine, but may be used alongside in the treatment of disease and in health. Now, examples would be acupuncture and osteopathy. Right, I'm just going to open a simple question out first of all. What is your interpretation of alternative medicine? To either one of you, just let me know what this is, because it's vast, you know, and the idea of the show and what I'm trying to represent for everybody who listens to is to hopefully create a bridge of information for the individual on any level to sort of understand of what's going on here. So, yeah, what is alternative medicine to your complementary medicine? Bryan, do you want to chime in?
Well, yeah, so it turns out that we've been sort of railroaded into calling it the alternative, when in actuality, it's the original.
Yeah.
So the real alternative is actually I guess, even to call it Frankensteinian, because even Frankenstein was a fruitarian. But anyway, it turns out that the alternative medicine is basically the complementary science that we use when we don't want to get injected, we don't want to get zippered, because, you know, the body is not a leather MC jacket. You know this. You don't zip and surgery and do these things to the body. We take nature, we take herbs, we take sunlight, we take fasting. We might even reintroduce our own body fluids, as you all may know. And because complementing our being is the key to just creating wholeness. You know, that's why they call it holistic. You know, so I think alternative medicine is all the general, nodes, has this Need to Know show, nodes of, healing to make things whole. You know, even languages are alternative medicine, because, you know, we're taught not to use the correct language. And, you know, language could be broken down so that, you know, a person could not can focus on what they don't need. And we could have seen this in places like The Secret and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, I got a lot from that. Bobby, do you want to tap into that a little bit, please?
Yeah, first of all, thanks, Brian. You said a lot right there, especially really going beyond the normal scope of things via language and things like that. So, as he stated, alternative medicine is the original, but now because of our paradigm, we've seen it as the alternative. And so the medical system, as we know it, is like 150 years old, 200 years old, some odd. And, they've got these almost, in a sense, barbaric techniques to bring the body back. They repair it like it would be a vehicle, when in essence you give the body what it needs and it repairs itself. And so, these alternative modes have allowed us to come in contact with the natural essences. And so anything that's closer to the original natural essence can be this alternative method of reestablishing homeostasis and balance within the body. So as he stated, things like sunlight, proper breathing, movement within the body, hydration, water, a lot of these simple things are lacking in the regular mainstream society. And as a result, they go towards this medical system that offers them really surface level solutions to their problems. They're not even solutions, they're just surface level band-aids when we got to get to the root of the issue if we're looking to really establish homeostasis.
Wow. Well, I think we've blown that apart, and to be honest, I don't think I could ever call it alternative medicine ever again. But yeah, so many levels. So sorry, go on.
Even with, as you had mentioned too, like becoming your own medical practitioner, that's not something I want to do, because I want to have nothing to do with the medical side of things. So I become my own self-healer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, and thank you for correcting there as well, because I'm big on the language as well, and I know you are as well, Bryan, and I know both of you are, to be honest, and it does make a big deal what you're chiming, what you're resonating, what you're saying out manifests into whatever it may be at that time. It's a big deal, definitely, the medical side of things. So yeah. So yeah, you're saying 150, 200 years old, Bobby, the medical industry is, and I mean, God, that's like it's like a baby. I mean, it's so youthful, and I mean, what we see in today's day and age, in the medical realm, it's almost barbaric is probably right up there, but there's almost there's something missing in the sense of like it kind of feels like it's been completely in your face, set up in a way where they truly really don't want to make you well, because a lot of it doesn't really add up, in the sense of like, I see a lot of, when it comes to the medical side of things, they want to take things away from you rather than complement the body and the self and the heart, bring them back into the. So I mean, like, do you want to add on to a little bit of that? Like, because for me, that would just leave the individual broken. There's something missing there. I mean, and the medicines that we're using today as well, if we want to go into a little bit of that, which we will, I'm like I say, no good or bad on these things. I'm just going to say that they seem to be, they're just not complementing, and they're artificial as well. And I can't see over 150 years, 200 years, it's gone so quickly that way. I mean, is there any reasons as to why they approach the medical side of things in this manner? rather than the whole natural, holistic way. And just be honest and just let it out. Go for it. Bryan.
Well, if we look at history and we look back in, at least in America, and I'm pretty sure in other places, that we're geniuses with technology, and the Reconstruction Era, which is after slavery, is when a lot of things started to change shape. You have, as Dr. Toombs said, Bobby said, the 150 years ago, a guy named William Osler, who was regarded as the father of surgery and one of the fathers of medicine, but meanwhile he was using ex-slaves, and was using anesthesia without cutting people without anesthesia to see how they would react to pain. And so you have that as the bed of a lot of the innovations. You also have the Tuskegee experiment. You have prisoners. Prison is being used to test people because they want to say that they use animals, which is bad enough, but instead of using animals, they're using humans to test a lot of what people regard as the safe way to heal themselves. And then you get into the pharmaceutical, which is just a disastrous place where so many drugs are killing people and recalling people. So you look at technology, and you look at Reconstruction and what they're trying to create as a slave paradigm, as a place where we have to do things faster, better, quicker, without questioning. Nanotechnology right now is going inside of your cells, inside of a person's cells, and creating these operations that we can't really see. But then you have things in the atmosphere that's also doing the same thing. So you have the whole event, spraying of the planes. You have the technology that goes beyond the cell. Well, they'll never create a cell. They'll never create water. They'll never create a baby with technology. But for the sake of slavery, for the sake of keeping people controlled, I think that's the mode, the MO behind why it is such a brutal, it is such a forceful, kind of mafioso way of keeping people controlled.
Okay. Bobby, got anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely this premeditated way of keeping people where they're at for control, money, power, and unfortunately that rules a lot of people via their lower self. And so these controllers have climbed to the top and really pushed this particular agenda, which has put this quote unquote, well, and they call it the medical practice. So it's a real juvenile knowledge, and they're literally practicing. It's like, hey, let's give these guys this over here, and let's cut open this. Like he just said, they're cutting off legs and stuff, no anesthesia. Let's see how much pain he can take. What's going on over here? And and then of course, when you're in the debtor's prison and you're not even, you don't even have any rights, then they can do what they want with you. So all this stuff has been designed and led up to a really subservient society where we give in very easily based off of all the pre-programming that we've been fed. So this alternative medicine is really so empowering because it gives you back the power as opposed to giving them the power when they artificially, intimidated their power and stole it from us in the first place.
Right.
And this is, and this goes back to all types of indigenous cultures. Every indigenous culture has their own practices and healing ways based on the local plants and things like that. And of course, someone comes in and decides that there's a better way and starts to push their monetary agenda.
Yeah, definitely monetary as well. Yeah, so I mean, the information clearly is blurred over history and time. It's managed to become somewhat tainted, opaque. But what's interesting is how easily manipulated information is these days. Like, I have to say, and hopefully Bryan will come back there. The connection obviously just failed there, but I'll continue. The information is obviously like blurred, and it seems to be getting to a stage now where people are having these awakenings, call it that, and it's almost like we're recognizing or feeling, definitely more sensing, feeling that something's not right or something's missing, in the sense like, or whether it's the information or the content or just whatever it is we're looking at, and how we're seeing people, how well we're able to look at people and just visualize and just see as a whole whether they're actually okay. Like there's practices like iridiology and rhenology which I'd love to get down into and learn eventually in time, but which just show that whether a person's well or not, or obviously. And what I'm trying to get out of this blurred information is that, how is it so easily manipulated in this day and age to blur information? Because the media is clearly one thing for this, where there's 101 different ways of doing things, and that seems to be a huge problem. But again, what I'm trying to do with this show, the people that come on to it, is to try and find a platform where there is a route for everything that we talk about. So hopefully you can add to a little bit of what I was trying to say there. I'm talking a little bit too much in there, Bobby, but yeah, how is information blurred, and how do we come back to understanding what is our true learning, where are we supposed to be heading towards when it comes to information? I mean, there must be a basic core, and then where we can start from, wherever, whatever level each individual's on.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's interesting how first and foremost, information can be manipulated pretty easy if you have enough money and power. And so just point blank, they've manipulated a lot of the information, and we're actually in this information era, this internet era, and even this Aquarian cycle is like this age of knowing. And so there's so much information out there, but yet a lot of it gets blurred, and then they throw in, or even other people throw in, misinformation, disinformation, and all this type of stuff to get people so distracted. Like Bryan had said, everything's so quick now, microwave type society. We want it quicker, faster, better, and everything seems to be coming at us as if it's quicker, faster, better, or at least a lot of the things that they presented to us. Even the medical system. They've talked about, take these pills, and like all of a sudden magic's going to happen when we know it doesn't work that way, or it's going to do this one particular thing, but it's going to have these particular side effects and all this other stuff. So again, there's just so much information coming at us, but what we got to do is get back to nature, because there is so much information in general. Nature is full of information, but it organizes itself based on hierarchy and based on like a systematic process, right? Did we get Bryan back?
I think we got Bryan.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm back.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel you in, Bobby. Finish off. I feel you in, Bryan. Don't you worry.
Yeah. So we're talking about how getting back to nature and just the information that is presented to us, and it can be laid up so foundational and so basic as if a child would understand it. And then when it gets really complicated, that's when we get so distracted via all the excess information. So, just simple things like light, pure water, pure living foods. It's all fairly basic, but if we get really wrapped up in all this excess information, then it pulls us in different directions.
Okay, so nature is the one there that's clearly, and I'm with you on that. It does hold a lot of information, and what I love about nature is that it holds no grudges. There is no good or bad. There's no hate or love. It's just straight line truth with whatever is going on. You see it in the seasons. It is what it is. But we was just talking about information being blurred and how easily manipulated it is, Bryan, and how can we come back to understanding the root of information, being able to express this within ourselves and others, and creating again a platform where we can actually start learning correctly. Can you add to that? Bobby?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I like what Bobby was saying about simplicity, and when we deal with the natural elements, it's very basic. We have light and dark. We have on and off. We're awake and we sleep. And those are, just very simple parts of the duality. If we take everything as one thing and we just tune into those things and then work backwards, we deal with duality. We're a whole, and we heal to be whole. So it gets back to just looking at nature, smelling things again, opening up our taste, our smells, our senses, connecting from that point so that we're able to be grounded, and we need to be able to fly when we need to, because the greatest thing is waking up, and when you wake up, you're putting a cycle in motion to rise. The sun rises and so do you. So we're in unison. We work in unison. Now we put in these buildings, we put in these jobs, go in cars and elevators and things that put us away from nature, which is fine, but it's kind of like we have to keep them in our memory bank so that we can get to it every now and then at least. We have to do things in these countries, cities, cans, boxes, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, definitely. Nature, mastering the senses. That's a big one. When you think about it, I think if the individual can actually sit back and say, man, do I actually know my senses? Have I got control, complete and utter control over my breathing, my sense of sight, my hearing, taste?
Right.
And to be honest, if the individual can be truthful, I can't speak for everyone. I think most people have to say no, right? And that's a great place to start, Bryan. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And money and power as well. What a big deal that is. I mean, what I have found, especially looking into alternative medicines, whether it be reishi mushrooms or shilajit jit or whatever it may be, there seems to be a trend going on, especially in this being able to use the internet and see prices of things and stuff like that. And what I tend to find is that when things are ridiculously high, it's a kind of a giveaway. I call this the beauty of human error. You can see things blatantly in your face that are being manipulated, and it's quite obvious if your eyes are open. I call it the beauty of human error. But when things are like ridiculously high, are these signs, or am I just over projecting? Are these signs of things attempting to be manipulated because they don't want you to buy these things, because they want you to, and there's also alternatives as well. Like there's no you can go onto Amazon or Google or whatever, and you can pay to have your thing at the top of the screen. And I think people because we don't know who these are, it's very difficult. I find it quite difficult because you have to really research and go into town and you have to kind of be like your own guinea pig and try new things and disregard and take new ideas on board. But I mean, how do we go about, to the average person, how do we go about managing our money and also be in the running, in the now, and being able to attempt new medicines, call it that, or herbs or whatever it may be that you're into?
I like how you brought up how things can be kind of pushed to the top.
Yeah.
via ads and stuff like that. And it brings up a good point and ties in with what you said with the media kind of skewing things and how things can be somewhat of a deception. And it does. It requires a lot of, or it can require a lot of homework. Say we're dealing with a particular supplement or even a particular producer of the supplement. Like you got to see their why. Are they in it for the money? Are they in it because it's a passion of theirs and they really got the best source of herbs? They got the best source and are working with like local farmers, or are they just kind of trying to push it because it's the next latest gimmick? And so a lot of times these latest fads, like I just sit back, you know what I mean? Because they're always like, it's the latest and greatest, this and that. And, you know, the stuff that still works is simple, tried, tested, and true for over thousands of years for the most part. And just kind of go from there. Stick with things like that, you know? Make it simple for yourself.
Bryan, can you add to that?
Yeah, I like that answer. I like what Bobby said there because when it comes to, you know, trying things and testing and just being, you know, from an empty place, trying things on, when you see things pushed, sometimes it could also be that they, you know, we like to, the word they, caught up and could be, okay, we've got a stronghold on it, so let's kind of like either disappear. You might see weird things like fires. You might see forest fires because the hemp in the 1930s, the DuPont families and these families started burning. You know, so forest fires are not that mysterious, but you can also see historically as recent as 2012, where in Jamaica they discovered this thing called the bell moss, and so they put out the news that there was this great herb and it's a root that you can find growing along electric fences called the bell moss. You know, I myself, my family hails from Trinidad, so it might have been there, but it's mostly in Jamaica. And when people in Jamaica went looking for it, we can't find it. So sometimes I just don't trust. I just do not trust when I see things. But I like to know that, like, you know, brothers like yourselves and people that we know are, you know, we're trending ahead of the curve because we're able to try things. And I like to get the news from people like yourselves and myself that are really trying things, are getting real results. And then we know because there's some things that we're doing that are so ahead of the curve that by the time it makes news, we'll be like, oh, yeah, now watch what's going to happen because the news is going to obliterate it. They're going to, you know, distort things. So I think we're good at looking at opinions, looking at people who we can trust. You know, it's a trust thing, but at the same time, it's also, you know, we gotta like have our, you know, like the doctors say, get a second opinion. Some doctors don't want you to get a second opinion, but we use second and third opinions because we have people close to us because we're sort of in the know. People who aren't in the know, do the best you can with trying things out and just getting the best opinions. Look at the news and look at the YouTube comments. I take my time and read what people, because there's some experts out there. A lot of them are not on Facebook. A lot of them are not on social media. But you'd be surprised to see how many people have some real expertise on, you know, cellular, you know, biology and you know, biochemistry, and you can really learn a lot watching people.
Yeah. So keeping it simple. I mean, Bryan, I know. Will, who was supposed to be on the show with us, he sent out a quite an intriguing question, which had me puzzled for a little bit in one of our groups that we were on outside of the box, and basically it was to do with the body, knowing the body and how the lymph nodes work. I can't word the question that he put, but what I'm trying to get at is, you know, keeping it simple. What things would you recommend for people to look into to have as their core set of additional tools, will it may, and you know, I'm trying to figure out how back in the days they, you know, and it's difficult because I know we've upgraded or downgraded whatever way in this day and age now. And before, I feel like they definitely had more of a grasp on their senses and the idea of who they were as spiritual beings, and they could see more, you know, senses. I mean, in this day and age as well, how do we get 12? How the body really works? Can we recommend, or can we be? Because I came into it late, unfortunately. You know, like I thought I knew. Averagely,
you're still way ahead of the curve, though. You know what I mean? Think about these other people who are not even thinking about any of this stuff.
It's true. It's true. And it's like we're almost like we don't exist to those other people. I mean, I remember when I was in my barely out of my teens when I first saw a woman eating a salad, and it looked cosmic, and everyone else at my job was laughing at her, and I was intrigued. Yeah, I have a different mind, right. So you know, but it's so outside of the box when we see things. So I don't know what's next, but at the same time, I think that once we kind of got to go into a meditation about things and just kind of silence things, and then that's when things start coming to you. I know you'll notice how many people are creative types and artistic and just mind 2.0, just on another level of looking at things and thinking about things, and it's all getting that emptiness. So emptiness is one thing that will never go out. Once you're empty, I mean, everything, you're full. It's the duality of things.
That's beautiful. That's real talk right there.
Yeah, that resonates with me so much. Bobby, please add to that before I take over. Add to that.
No, as the brother said, emptiness is the fullness. You know, you have to. It's a law within the universe too. When it wants to fill that void. So as soon as you allow your cup to be emptied, then it can be filled with something a little bit more better if you're open to that, right? And you're open to the possibilities, and you start seeing the optimism, and so the universe wants to fill that up and give that to you, and you'll start seeing these things in plain sight too, because it's like you got to have the simplicity of a child. It's got to be real basic in order for us to adopt it, because if it's way too complicated, it's just it becomes too much, and it can be distracting, et cetera, et cetera. So when we get these little nudges, as we empty our cup, when it wants to be, when the universe wants to fill us up with its goodness, it's like start recognizing those signs and take them for what they are, and do your own experimentation. Be your own judge. Be your own filter, and don't listen to what everybody else is saying, but take it, run with it for a little bit. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And as you continue on your journey, you'll find exactly what is right for you, and then you'll be able to start seeing this in all aspects of life. Start connecting the dots and seeing how the simplicity plays out in the financial sector, and your emotional life, physicals, all these areas of life.
Yeah, I just want to add to that we all have like different levels of expertise. So if you do exactly what Bobby said, who knows, you might just suddenly find yourself 99 percentile ahead of everybody else in no time. Because to me, time doesn't exist and all these things don't exist, but it's what we create. When we bring things to our consciousness and then we start to look into them, if no one instructs us, we can have a totally different view from everyone else. And so that whole thing, like what Bobby said and what I'm saying, and what you understand, Zeke, is pretty much to just spend time alone with things and just gather your own interpretations of things. Because I think that's what intelligence is you look at things and you create your own view of it, even if it's wrong. There is no right and wrong. You just look at things for how they appear to you, and then once you have other people come into into agreement, which is what science does, then you can create a popular or formidable opinion or view of things, and you'll be quite experienced.
Right.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. I love it. On the keeping it on the approach of simple things, the attachments, the applications rather, that we could recommend for everybody as a whole, regardless of what tier or level they're on in their where they are at this present time. I heard emptiness. I'd love to know a little bit more as to how an individual who's unfortunately slightly disconnected, in the sense of not in sync with their ego or their oversoul, and trying to connect them back together so they can appreciate happiness in their life. Is there any recommendations we can go with that as well? And to chuck in there, meditation and breathing. They're clearly two areas that we should all have been schooled at. Like in my way of understanding it, just based logical, rather than this dodgy 4-year-old toddler school stuff. Like, we should be taught at a young age how to breathe and how to meditate. It feels right for me saying that, you know, the feeling feels right. And I love the whole approach of emptiness. It just makes sense. So, I mean, how can we aid people to, or recommend? What have you guys put into place or looking into? Right.
Yeah, so for me, a lot of it is the physical, channeling the energy through the physical. So obviously, if you get the physical body moving, you start working on that breath work naturally. And then, of course, at the same time, when you stop your body from moving and really focus on the relaxation aspect, and then again, you're working with the breath, things like that. And that allows, you know, there's both sides. So the physical can allow you, like, say you're running or just working out really good. This allows you to be in a space where you can be empty and be filled kind of at the same time. And that's the key, is like, you know, the inhale and the exhalation, you know, that's the properties of the breath work. And so when we can start to control that, then we can really start to allow that space to be filled, because that's what it is. We're bringing in this emptiness that fills us up, and in turn, you know, moves the nutrients and things like that. So I really like to experience it through the physical, because some people can't really just sit still, right? So go for a walk. And there's different forms of meditation that allow you to get into a nice, comfortable space, but find what works for you, what's true to you, and try different variations. And a kid, you know, again, through the child thing, it's so simple. They're running, they're playing, they're present, they're empty, they're learning, they're absorbing, they're not judgmental, you know what I mean? They're just pure, so.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that makes total sense. So being physical, kinetic, is you have to be moving. You have to be rolling. You have to,
I think so many people overcomplicate the meditation with this whole, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then that in and of itself, if you're not giving the monkey mind something to do, it can start to run off on its own.
Sure.
And so just starting off with like a physical type of meditation is a really good place to start.
I like that. Thanks a lot, Bobby. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Bryan.
Yeah. I like that a lot, Bobby. Thank you. That you know, and you said it too, Zeke. Disconnect and connect, because when you look at all our senses, everything is touch. It's all touch. So
right.
When we're looking at our eyes, the optic nerves have to, meet, the levels of frequency that we see and create that depth perception. When we smell, the olfactory, you know what I mean? When in our ears, the vibration, it's all touch. And then when we meditate, we kind of put those things to rest, but at the same time, the body desires to touch, and by connecting to ourselves. So it changes the level of connection. So, we connect for growth, for aspiration, like a child connects. Let's, like Bobby said about children, look at how empty they are, and look at how open they are
Pure,
to the elements, to all things that are innocent, and look at the things that they like. They like fruits. They don't go for a ham hock too quickly. So it's kind of it's kind of just that sort of innocence. We have to return our innocence and just be empty, be vulnerable a little bit, and just trust in, what is going to, fill our cup, as you said
Right.
also. So yeah, the right things will come in, but it comes from, having that truthful and that, integrated self, being integrated and just allowing for breathing in. You're expanding. You're now one with the universe, or attempting to be. When you exhale, you're disconnecting from the universe, and so you do both, and almost remember those old school movies from I think the 20s where the lights were flickering, black and white, and it's like you're watching a silent movie, but the it's flickering, black and white, really fast, pixelating. We look at these computers and don't see that, but that's kind of what we do. It's like that on and off thing that we're talking about. We connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect. So then we try to streamline it in our meditation practice. Try to take on a total disconnect, totally just easy, just relax, and it's amazing how much also you said the monkey mind just jumps in and wants to kind of sway, and then after you do a retreat and go away and meditate for a long time, which I've done, you'll separate and be like, oh my gosh, start kicking things. You'll say, oh my God, help me. No, but after a while you start to calm down, and then when you calm down, you start to really realize, you get into yourself, and then I told our friend John to pass, you go from being a dog to being a wolf.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks. Honestly, you know what? It's such a difficult topic because it's been smeared over so much. But just this talk we've had so far, it just makes it so simple. Like for me, there's just opening up, and I just know that the information being told to me is real. It's real, and the simplicity of it all is exactly what we're after. The wording, the language that's coming up is exactly how I wish I could have been approached when I was in my bad times. What I mean? To be empty. Look for that. I probably would have said you're mad, but hopefully, I reckon something would have clicked. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I reckon, yeah. It definitely makes a lot of sense. There was a question I wanted to ask about modern medicine a little earlier. So I'll get it now anyway. But the idea of, I feel that there are some good things about modern medicine. No, what I mean by that is obviously my understanding of, let's just say, alternative medicine for now is the whole approach of self-healing, knowing that the body self-heals and applying methods to enhance self-healing of the body so it can look after itself and maintain itself. Modern medicine doesn't do that. But the far end of the scale of modern medicine and the practices that I'm going on to is unfortunately the severing of things, the amputation and stuff like that. So if one does go too far and they have some major gangrene or bits and pieces, something really quite devastating, I guess there's a good side to what they can do in a way.
Right.
Am I that sort of area, that sort of way? Am I saying it right? You want to just cover me on that, or there's an alternative?
Yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man. And if you got a combination fracture or some of these really intense things, that's where the medical system is needed. You've been shot, something like that, stabbed, all these, fell off a building. Some of the stuff is necessary, and I thank God for medical, or thank the universe, whatever you call it, right, for that side of medical practice, or that side of medical, surgeries and stuff like that. Sure. But only in extreme situations, basically. Other than that, the body does heal itself.
Yeah.
Or has the ability to. Let's put it that way.
Bryan, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. they had that old story about the tortoise and the hare, and alternative medicine sometimes could be like the tortoise, and the tortoise will win the race there. But sometimes, the medical establishment can be like the hare, and the hare can win the race also in an emergency, like Bobby said. Because yeah, if you get your arm cut off, you can't take ginseng to sew your finger or arm down.
Straight up.
You gotta consider that stitching can save your life, and operation can save your life. But there are some purists out here who question, because some people will say, well, you can still avoid the situation if you're being holistic, but you can never know. I'm not God. I don't know where I could be, and I'll never know. Nothing is guaranteed, but at the same time, you have things in place where we can quickly do things, and we do this. We actually do this with pretty much everything. We are in tune with different things so that we can kind of be efficient about things. And the hospital is no different. Of course, in the case of like things like diabetes and tumors and things like that, if a person doesn't listen the first time or didn't get the message the first time, yeah, we've got to do something about that tumor. But there are also things in place where we could just kind of rewind the clock and just we got to have all our mind power at some points when we use alternative medicine too, because if the mind's not there, a lot of things will not happen, and could get worse. And so I think that we have a placement for all of those things, and it's amazing actually. I'm amazed by all the medical interventions that can be used. We can really do some magical things.
If they just continue to tie it in and integrate it, the integrative medicine, where there's the modern practices and the alternative or ancient practices, and if we continue to somehow synergize this, then that's the beauty of today's day and age with the technology, plus the alternative or ancient, more, natural forms of healing.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys. I'm glad I brought that question in, because that's tying in really with becoming an actual self-healer. Yeah.
Yeah, like Bryan said, there's so many purists that want to just be this, but man, it's hard, and you begin to lean on that side of the equation, and you become just like them in a sense.
Yeah.
So you got to really find that balance.
Absolutely, 100%. That's exactly my understanding, and I find it very, especially with social media, following a lot of individuals, and it's really important. You have to take a step in to someone else's realm and listen. My uncle said to pick sense out of nonsense. So you always have to be open to whatever. You always have to be open to whatever and learn and be able to disregard at the same time. And I feel being your own self-healer, you have to. It would be wise to be open to all sorts of ideas. Like some people say, one size doesn't always fit all, but I feel there's definitely benefits from the modern side of things. From the ancient side of things, get the best of both worlds, surely. Like in this, and I feel like I'm quite lucky, quite fortunate. You have if you can connect to the mind hive, and use that universal library, and utilize all types of skills. Because if you want to be your own self-healer, which I'd love to be able to do, and I know you guys are more than I am at the moment, purely having an array of information is better than just actually sitting on one side of the scale. And like Bobby, you kind of end up being like them. If that, I know what that means. Yeah. You're one-track minded. But
and the beautiful thing about you, because you had mentioned like wanting to be a healer, healing yourself, like you're already doing that process, and we're always doing that process. just because I may have looked into this area of interest for a certain amount of time doesn't give me really any type of, it's a daily healing, daily detox. There's so much going on inside our bodies. And so for yourself, even stepping into the realm, start to allow the mind to expand. And Einstein said, like, the universe cannot, once the mind expands, it can't contract back down to its same space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just allowing, and we know about the whole matter aspect. It's all space. The majority of this whole shit is space. So you allowing that emptiness. You know what I mean? And so it's really interesting how it works. So you allow in a little bit of information that allows you to let go. And even within the physical body, when we were talking about letting go, like a lot of it is detox and getting this crap out of us that has been sitting there for a long ass time. And so when we allow that empty space, then we can be full and whole.
Yeah, thank you for that, brother. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Wow, powerful conversation. Yeah. So, to finish up on this, becoming your own medical practitioner, guidelines. You know, what things do you practice on a daily basis? The simple things, just to pinpoint the simple things. I know that all three of us, for example, are looking into our own waters, you know, which is something quite very informative and very powerful and very ancient. It's nothing brand new, and when I was introduced to it, I was amazed. And something again synced with me. It felt right. When I was listening to this information, I was drawn into it, you know, and that space became very, very open to me. And we spoke about meditation and breathing and finding the skill to become empty. So becoming your own medical practitioner, what's the route? What key points are we putting here for individuals to know that they're kind of on the right path? What do they need to be doing as mandatory, really, to be looking at, you know, without putting them in a box or anything?
I think one of the key things is, as we...
Bob, you want to go first?
For sure. I think one of the key things is the mind and letting go.
Bryan, yeah.
So that means for a lot of us, letting go of these past beliefs, letting go of this old ancient system, or, you know, this archaic, you know, the medical system. It's not ancient, but just letting go of the old beliefs that do not serve, allowing for that space, and you'll begin to find pure things to fill that space with. So, you know, like pure tones, pure music, pure light, pure air, pure foods, pure water. So kind of emptiness and refilling it with purity. Just as a real basic logic of thought.
Just to add a little bit on that, so it's quite important to just learn a little bit more of the history of modern medicine, because then you'll have an understanding that actually there is something more outside of the box. If you just go a little bit more down the timeline, you recognise that actually it's in its baby stages at the moment still, and that actually there are way more ancient, powerful, medicinal things that we have to us available.
Yeah, just simply how did our ancestors survive and thrive? We have all this technology today, but how did they do it back then, and what insights can we gain from that while adding in the technology we have today?
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. You know, finding exactly that, the ancestors, what was the best they did? You look at the water they drank. What was the air like? What was the plant life like? What was the fruits like? And look at what we have today. Look at what we had. Look at what we have to do to achieve those things. We do have things in place today that we can kind of bridge that gap. And so when it comes to things like water, fruit, whether you wanted to get fruit and vegetables or whatever it is from a different source or a better source, just looking at historically what we were doing, what has changed, and really just try to find the truth. Because once you find the truth behind our story, not his story, our story, my story, your story, then we're able to, kind of work from within, because it really all comes from with us, and then we have to use ourselves, like we were saying earlier. We have to be the ultimate gauge and just look at things, just compare things, but don't get caught up in the comparisons and the judgments of things. Just look at things from where they are, where they were, where they could be going, and the word "know" is so powerful. Know, K-N-O-W, but also N-O, which makes me realize that they're really the same word.
Right, exactly.
Singing the same tune.
And then G-N-O, like you said, working from within, like you already know.
Yes.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah. The simplicity of this chat has just been so empowering. Honestly, like it's quite incredible how fulfilling it is to just have the information that's just been given today. And it's so easy for anyone to just take on board. I feel, if they
just stick your toe in the water, man.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely. I mean? Just try. And
and then when you're able to dive in, just dive on in.
Right.
Wow. Well, guys, I think that's I think we've touched base on a lot of things there. I mean, we touched base on reconnecting with the brain, connecting to the mind hive, emptiness, meditation, breathing, detoxing, which seems to keep coming up a lot, physical, connective movement, the five senses. Wow. Ancient history, language, water, money and power. Wow. Such a short space of time. I think honestly, it's been amazing to have you guys on, and we hope that anyone that catches this gets a lot of, and I believe they'll get a lot of information from this and take this on board and hopefully pass it on. So, that being, I'm going to say thank you so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate your time. And
we appreciate you, Brother Bryan. It's good to meet you too. I haven't met you before, so it was a blessing to share space.
Likewise, Bobby. I'm looking for you now.
No doubt.
And obviously,
and thank you, Z.
Yeah, Bryan, thanks a lot, man, for being here, and Bobby. And obviously, I'll in the links below when I post this, I'll get the information going. Obviously, I know you're on YouTube. You started on YouTube as Fruitarian/Potato, -Potato. I don't know if that's still going on, but I'm connected to that. So, and I know you're on Facebook with certain groups. So I'll definitely get your links out. And Bobby, same with you, with your links with Toombs Talk and Toombs Herb Tonic. Sorry. So I'll definitely be getting your word out, your faces out there as well. And thank you so much for the show. It's been amazing. Loads of information. Empowerment there.
Oh, thank you.
Just have a good day. And I'll speak to you very soon, guys. Yeah.
You too, brother.
All right.